It is that time again, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with a popular segment on Wake Up MLS. We got our monthly power rankings on the channel today, and I got some great creators joining me for this episode. Let's go ahead and tee them up. We got an OG from Wake Up MLS. He's back, ladies and gents. We got Jon Rivera, the loyal and sometimes banter-heavy Chicago Fire fan. We got the other John from Loud and Proud Orlando, and as always, I feel like you guys see him all the time on this channel, on the show. We have Hector from Insert Name FC. Again,
also the other John.
The other John. Yeah. John squared on the show today. Guys, it's going to be a banger. If you haven't checked one of these out, if you didn't see any of these episodes last season, in tier list fashion, we're going to be ranking every one of the 30 MLS franchises in a power rankings fashion based on where they are 4 to 5 weeks into the 2025 season. Okay, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of hot takes, I'm sure. If you guys enjoy this episode, again, like it, subscribe to the channel, do all those great things. But I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's jump right in. Let's get right to the tier list and have some fun with this, all right? And look, we're not going to base this list off of any of the other power rankings lists that are coming out from Major League Soccer, from other content creators. I'm sure they have a list kind of broken out in a super tactical way. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I think you guys are going to enjoy it as well. All right, so here we go. Let's get the tiers out of the way first. All right, guys. From the bottom to the top, we got Oh No, We Suck Again. That's a fan favorite. We've had it on the tier list before. Got Staring at the Panic Button. Hear Me Out, which I want to hear. I'm going to hear some people out today. Probably shut those takes down. We'll see. We Might Be Good, guys. And then finally, the Contenders, right? Probably not going to be too many teams up at the very top, but the ones that we already see kind of running the show as far as Major League Soccer is considered across both conferences. All right, guys. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right in. You can see the clubs down here at the bottom. We're going basically in alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and start with Atlanta United, fresh off of the new DP signings, 4 weeks in. I'm going to go ahead and just throw them in, and you guys let me know if you disagree. How are we feeling?
One more down. Hear Me Out.
Really? I want to say the same thing.
Wow.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. No, legit. I think they need a little bit more time before establishing if we know that they're good or not. The reason why I say that is because if you look at Atlanta's attack, even last game, I think it was more apparent, but they have not been in sync at all. I think, obviously they got back, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Help me out, guys.
Almiron.
Yeah, right? They got him back. He's been looking pretty decent, but there's a lot of miscommunications with their front line going up in there.
That's fair.
And there's a lot of, that's why I don't know if they're, I could see them being good, but it's also, it's kind of early for them. Their chemistry's not really there. They're looking a little bit rough at the top. If they can sort that out, we can bump them up a tier, but I think right now this is where it's perfect to have them in.
I'm okay to have them at the top of this tier. The only reason why I think that I would say it's hard with the results, right? Like anybody's looking at the table as we record this video, it's probably like, no, John's actually spot on. They're in fucking 12th place. I understand that, but they played Red Bulls, Miami, and Charlotte in 3 of the 4 games, right? So I think if they had the Chicago Fire schedule as an example, it might look a little bit different. But again, bro, I'm not going to argue with this. I think we do this a couple more times, they're going to work their way up the list a little bit. So, it's not a bad take, not a bad shout. We can always move things around. Everybody in agreement there?
All right. I'd say so. I'll say one thing too, though. I feel like Atlanta would have won that game had they have not had those miscommunications against Miami. Yeah. I feel like they could have gone more. They would have at least drew the game, if not won that game.
It was a dagger right at the very end, bro. And honestly, that one center back got posterized by Messi. Holy shit. That was crazy.
Guzan had a good game.
Guzan, that's still, bro. That's his World Cup final. Miami is his World Cup final 1000%, bro. It's crazy. All right, man. Austin FC. This one to me is tricky. Anybody have a take? Because I don't want to be the biased Dallas fan who just chunks them down at the fucking bottom. So, how do we?
Oh no, we suck again.
There's no way, bro. They just beat LAFC.
Shout out Hernan, but no.
Shout out Hernan. As someone in the comments alluded in the last video, it was the Hernan Clásico. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that is true.
yeah, out there in LA. Are they panicking yet, or are they kind of like?
They beat, Sporting and Portland. They beat LAFC, but LAFC are not super great right now. the Colorado. So it's mid, right?
Yeah, they're
it's
mid.
really mid.
That's
It's
like
mid.
hear
It's
me out's like a
borderline.
mid category.
Yeah, border end of hear me out. Borderline staring at the panic button. I think.
Yeah, I would say because I feel like a team like Colorado. I don't know. We'll talk about Colorado in a bit, but
I think also Austin FC. I don't know. I don't necessarily think the bar was at least high. So I think for hear me out, it makes sense. Where like they don't know where the season's gonna go. They're still kind of, to me, they're still missing a 10 to really get that whole Brandon Vasquez connection perfectly. And then obviously, maybe some people still aren't certain yet with the coach, but I think that like right now the bar isn't necessarily the bar isn't where it was last year, where we were at like literally last year.
Bro, I don't want to talk about it. It's gonna bring back PTSD, bro. Like I don't want to talk about it. And not legitimately was like, dude, we're fucking back. And I was like, again, they didn't make playoffs, but they added pieces. And the kicker with me with Austin is that I want to bring them down, but I understand that why we keep them here. I want to bring them down because they scored 2 goals in 4 games. Like yeah, they're middle of the table
in 4 games.
But part of me, I think to Hector's point, with missing a 10, you have the Brandon Vasquez. Obviously, he's a goal scorer in this league. We all know how much he was able to do with Cincinnati, like what he's been able to do in the league.
Bro, he had one good year. Good year.
Yeah, but one good year off of what having what he had good service. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he had Lucho feeding him. I mean,
yeah,
so the best 10 in MLS.
So that's what I mean, and that's the point that I'm kind of trying to get that, where they could be a tier lower, because if they don't, honestly, this is my honest opinion. I feel like if they don't make a strong midfielder signing, someone that can give them that service, it's gonna be borderline panic button. And I know they don't have much time left. Obviously, the transfer window is not open at the moment. So if things do happen, they need to move in the summer and they need to bring in a 10 to be able to stabilize that a little bit. They don't find that, I can see them being, missing the playoffs again next year or this year.
Fair enough. I'm telling you, a lot of teams I think are going to be ahead of them in this tier, and there might even be a scenario where we move them down. But again, maybe I'm being too harsh. Results are results at the end of the day, but they're just not scoring. And this is Nico Estevez and SC Dallas all over again, winning games barely 1-0, just scraping by. So we'll see how they stack up. Montreal, I'm not even going to leave this up for debate, bro. I'm sorry. Is what it is. Like you're winless. You're winless. There was maybe a little bit of hope, right, in Courtois' second season as the manager, but it's quite literally oh no, we suck again.
They only have scored 2 goals as well,
but not getting the result. At the end of the day, right? It's like they're not. They're just like Austin offensively, but at least Austin's finding a way to get the result. And I think most impressively on the road against LAFC. So that's why I'm like, dude, Austin's probably down here. But again, we won't talk in circles.
Oh wait, I forget. Montreal fans hate me. I forgot
they
all
do.
about that. I forgot about all that. Yeah, no, you can keep them down there.
I mean, technically, you didn't put them down there, but I mean, all right. Well,
yeah. It's like,
I didn't put them down there, but I mean,
they were literally cursing at John, French Canadian, bro.
Yeah, they literally were. They were mad at me.
Take notes, though. John did not disagree. He did not try to stop it.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Still the craziest way to end of a game in 2024. By the way, Chicago Montreal's wild. It's one Chicago win, not Chicago fire.
Yeah.
All right, Charlotte.
We might be good, guys.
Yeah.
I
think we might be good, man.
I hate to do this, but you should put them at the top, I think.
Ooh. Give me the reason. Top 4 right now in the East. So
the defense is solid. Was solid last year. Always has been under Dean Smith. I feel like he's got them, with that grittiness. And now they've added in Zaha, and I feel like their attack is only going to get stronger. I mean, look at the teams they played in their opening 4 and the results they've got. I mean, the 2-2 away at Seattle, that's not easy to do. 2-0 at home versus Atlanta, didn't let them score a goal. The 1-0 only lost to Miami, and then 2-0 against Cincy. They're taking out the powerhouses in the early part of the season, and they look, as much as I disdain for Charlotte, I will sit here and tell you that they are very good this year.
The only asterisk next to the Miami result is that Miami went down to 10 minutes in 30 minutes. And again, maybe that's just how good Miami is, right? And maybe we'll put them ahead of them. But
I just think, look at the 4 games you start the season with. Like you think, you'd lose 2 or 3 of those. Like they got 2 wins, a draw, and a loss to Miami. Like no shame in that. I just think also they've added that level up in attack. If they are as good defensively as they were last year, which they were one of the best teams defensively in the East last year, it's going to be scary, man.
Yeah.
They're going to do a lot.
And Aguimeng just finally got on the scoring sheet as well.
Yeah.
To kick off his account for 2025. So if he
But,
gets rolling, if Zaha gets rolling, yeah, I can see it.
Top of we might be good guys for me is like the minute, like bottom of show contenders. If you guys feel, I think you got to watch out for Charlotte.
No, I do agree with that. I think Charlotte's getting. I think last year, I might have slagged him off a little bit more than I probably should have, to be honest. When we talked about the Dean Smith appointment of Charlotte, I was very hesitant because I didn't know how much he could provide to that team.
A very loosely word.
I guess, right?
You were straight up a fucking hater. Let's be real. Let's not sugarcoat it. You were straight up hating.
It's boring at times, man. It is.
I mean, it's not the most
ball, right? That's the ball.
It's not the most exciting football, right?
No.
But it gets the job done. He stabilized the defense.
John made a statement about Dean Smith, goes on a hiatus. Coincidence?
It's crazy how that happened.
No. But I do agree with what you're saying. I feel like Zaha actually provides that team with a lot more attacking power now. Stable defense, good attacking power. I feel like they're going to be maybe not contending at the top end echelon, but like trying to get Supporters Shield, but they're going to be up there, obviously. Between 1 and 3 spots, I feel like they'll be bouncing around there for the majority part of the season, because I feel like with most of the teams in the MLS, I feel like there's very average teams, and Charlotte's just going to be able to pick apart those teams. So,
yeah, fair enough. I like that. Okay, all right, John. Hear me.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys put. I'm gonna let you put it, and then we can discuss.
Hear me.
For
out.
me, this is where it's at.
Okay, why is that?
So here's the thing. I know people will look at like, dude, look at where the Fire are right now under Berhalter versus Atlanta. Bro, go look at the strength of schedule, bro. The only playoff team they've played this season beat them like handedly. Like was it 4-1 against Columbus? 3-1 against Columbus?
4-1, 1 on goal. But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that game ended up being the way that it was. But you can continue. I'll let you continue talking.
And again, you look at who Atlanta's played. We talked a lot about how Charlotte's had this gauntlet of a schedule to kick off the season. So is Atlanta. And again, Charlotte was, in my opinion, a much more stable team. Atlanta lost all 3 of their DPs last season. Brand new coach coming in, still trying to make it all work, and had a very similar strength of schedule as Charlotte. And again, I think at some point too, I believe they just have more firepower. I think when Latte Lat gets going, when Almiron finds his comfortability, and when Sabah gets going, even in his own right, we saw what happened in the middle of last season. Like, I just feel like Atlanta's going to be a powerhouse in the East at some point. It just hasn't started off that way. I could be wrong. And also, bro, I'm never going to back Triple G to win anything. I'm never going to back him to be a contender in this league. Again, his history just shows that. So Chicago's had a decent start, but I kind of expected that just considering who they played. The draw and the 2 wins they have in this season have come against all teams who did not make playoffs last season.
Well, I'll kind of recap the Columbus game. That was more self-inflicted than anything else, if I've ever seen it.
Isn't that a story of your team, though?
Yeah. I mean, it is. But I feel like we're pushing towards, the positive side of the spin that I put onto it is those mistakes haven't been there prevalent like in the last 2 games that we played, right? Obviously, they were the first game. I think second game we struggled a little bit. I think that's when we drew, right?
Yeah,
against DC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that was another one of those things where it was kind of weird, making defensive mistakes. Against Dallas, we came back, kind of figured that one out.
Crazy game, yeah.
Crazy game. We turned it around. As we kind of discussed, privately, you thought that Dallas kind of just didn't really show up as much as they probably should have in the second half. Changes weren't made, whatever. Toronto, I mean, it's Toronto. We're not really going to put too much stock into that. So, although I want to put us in we might be good, I feel like it's too early for me to call anything. I feel like this weekend might be a big factor in telling us what that is going to be.
Bro, if y'all beat Vancouver, I will hold my fucking hands up. I swear to God, I will hold my hands up and say, you know what, John? You might have been cooking, bro. 100%. I will definitely hold my hands up. I don't
disagree with you, though. I agree with the Atlanta stuff. Like, I think we're good here between, like, maybe the top 3-4 spots and hear me out. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think to me, better than Austin, because again, right now, Kuipers is like what? Top 2 scoring in the league? Yeah. So you have, in my opinion, Kuipers is a better striker and just flat out, it can even create opportunities for himself in a way that like Vasquez can't do it. So like, I think that like Chicago will be pretty damn decent. Like they'll be in playoff contention all throughout the season, I think. I'm just waiting to see, yeah, like again, the Vancouver game this weekend. That's going to be very telling for me. If it's a whoop ass from Vancouver's perspective, which is what they've been doing, then yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'll move them out of this tier, but I just think it's kind of exactly what I expected. Like pretty good mid, maybe at the top of the mid, right? But that's kind of where Chicago.
Do you remember the take that I had last year that we were going to be? Was it top 4 or top 3? That's this year. I was a year off.
Stop,
I was a year off.
I was not going to be top 4 in the
I was a
East,
year
bro.
off. I was a year off. I was a year off. My bad. I miscalculated it a little bit. I was a year off, but
one of the Johns is going crazy on the show already. All right, man. Let's go ahead and move on to Colorado. Colorado, man, is an interesting team. This one to me is actually one of the harder ones to pick. Does anybody have a firm take with the Rapids?
I feel like they surprised me. I thought they wouldn't be as good, like the fourth so far and they got some decent results. Like maybe one of the better teams in the West this year, not as average as I predicted.
Yeah, I mean, bro, to beat the Quakes with what they added and how strong they looked to start the season off, I think was pretty impressive last week. I think, you beat Austin FC, man. Like, that is what it is, but it's still kind of early for me to tell. And I feel like we said this in the first iteration of these power rankings last season, where it was like they had all those new pieces. We didn't know what to expect. And they're kind of there again, but in a different way. Like, to me, they could finish top 4, but just as easily they might not. I think they're a playoff team 100% when I look at this team. And Dallas tied them 3-3 on their own pitch. So, I just gonna have those up and down games, because to me, Dallas is still a pretty beatable team. Like, because there's so many new pieces that Dallas is still trying to figure it out. But like, they kind of stunned Colorado a little bit, but that was like week 2, so I don't know how much stock you really put into that. They've had some decent wins since then, so I'm comfortable putting them here. They've beaten Austin FC. I don't know if I'm ready to put them in. We might be good, but maybe that's me being a hater. I don't know.
They're working their way there, and I feel like I don't feel bad for putting them in a tier that is just going to be real, bro. Yeah, you can do that. For putting them in a tier where I feel like they can continue moving forward. I think there's room for progression, of course, but I also do feel like the schedule that they have had within the start of the season, not the strongest. So time will tell. Time will tell if we're right or wrong on that.
I like that. I like that pick right here. All right, Hector, where do you see the Crew going, bro?
I think they're contending, man.
What's crazy is that they still look like they're not like as prolific as they were, but like they still look good.
It's Wilfried Nancy, man. It's Wilfried Nancy.
Yeah, like they're still like keeping pace with the top of the East so far, and I don't know how long that's gonna last, but yeah, they still look pretty damn decent. And they're still
they still need a 9. I think that's still they need a 9, but Wilfred's like, who cares? So,
He'll make it work.
Well, they have like 2 DP spots, or like definitely 1 now, right?
Yeah, so they at least have 1.
This summer they're gonna go probably find that 9, you would imagine. So, yeah. Nancy,
and they lure Antoine Griezmann away from LAFC. No, I don't think.
Hey, they're just
if you convince Griezmann to move to Ohio, I will be shocked.
Yeah, I don't think Griezmann's coming here to go play for the Crew.
Hey, bro, all you gotta do. I think the Cavaliers are doing pretty well right now in the NBA.
Bro, stop.
It's like New York, Miami, or LA only.
The Cavs would have to make the finals for Griezmann to want to go there.
I
don't know how possible that's gonna be, but
yeah.
Hey man, him, Spider Mitchell, tell him, hey, we need Grizzy.
Make a good little Griezmann tribute video. I like that, bro.
Here's the thing about Columbus, though. They're just a unit. I feel like they have been for the past couple of years. As much as like Cucho was there and they obviously provided goals, things like that, I don't really feel like they were Cucho reliant throughout the whole time. With the titles that they won, I don't feel like they were so like heavy on it. Obviously, I feel like as a unit, they were able to still, even when he was out, they were still able to beat teams handedly, perfectly fine, comfortable. Like, I just don't see them as a team that's really struggling. They're a very well-structured team, a very team-oriented team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they just, having a 9, once they get it, they're going to start booming again. But, yeah, I think they're just one of those teams, again, where it's hard to kind of bet against.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's nothing more to be said. I think that the Crew are a solid unit, and until they prove us otherwise, until they fall out of like the top 3, top 4 in the East, I think it's going to be tough because they obviously have the experience and the results are still coming through. So we can leave them there, totally fine. I don't know if they stay in that second spot of the Supporters Shield Contenders, but we'll get there. DC, are they already staring at the panic button?
Staring at the panic button.
1 win and 4. Benteke, man, the carry job this man's doing just to keep them relevant. Like how long can this last, bro? When is he gonna start questioning like his involvement with this squad? Like, I don't know, man. I feel bad. I honestly feel bad.
This guy has every right to hate Rooney more than the whole nation.
What a recruiter Rooney was, bro. What a recruiter. This dude, man,
just loves Washington D.C. Surely, like he just loves living in Washington. Like, I don't understand what the deal is.
Here's
His
the thing,
back
like,
must hurt from carrying this team, bro.
He just doesn't have any support, and I think that you can only be reliant on one player, especially in this league, for so long. We've seen teams like Portland with Evander last year. You can only be so one player dependent, and it can only get you so far. The same thing with Nashville, like Hani Muhtar. How long were they dependent on one player? Like, I think that they might want to start hitting the panic button just if there's no support there.
Yeah, I agree. The only reason I'm not moving them down here is because they haven't lost yet either, right? Yeah. They have 3 draws. So
yeah, but they drew to Toronto, Montreal. You know, they managed to beat like KC. Great
They're
job.
very close to being down here. Yeah. Very close.
I would put them down there if it was me, but.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's also like they're technically still if you look at just how prolific Benteke is, like as bad as DC last year, he still stood out. He won the Golden Boot, right?
He won the Golden
Boot. Yeah, he did. So obviously, and again, it didn't really matter at the end of the season as far as like the team results were considered, but still had that individual accolade. So like that's kind of like they'll be a problem. For any of these
for a
teams
whole other year, though, like what if he gets seriously injured? Like then it's all over. Like,
then you move him a tier down. I feel like
at that point, if they lose Benteke for any reason, they're at maybe the bottom of this fucking tier. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's tough sledding for your DC United fan because it's your only hope is Benteke outscoring the other opponent. Like at the end of the day,
strategy is literally F it. He's out there somewhere.
you guys ever heard of literally the blind throws memes?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. It's just like
he's down there somewhere.
Fuck it, he's down there. Yeah, he'll get it. He'll get it. Cincinnati, are they contenders?
No.
All right.
Hear me out.
Hear me out.
Interesting. Hear me out. I don't think they're going to be as strong as they have been in the last couple of years. And we discussed this. I talked about it a little bit in the group chat. But I think losing Lucho is going to hurt him a lot more than what people actually are thinking that it's going to.
Bro, I was told by Sasha Klestion and everybody on the panel for MLS 360 that Evander would actually make this team better than when they had Lucho Acosta.
No. I put that on. I mean, we saw what Evander was able to do with Portland. And as much as, Cincinnati has a better team than Portland, I don't think this Cincinnati team is going to be able to they'll make playoffs, but I don't think that they're going to go far this year. They don't have
the only losses this season so far are to 2 powerhouse teams,
which is fair. But if you're losing to, you're going to get
convincingly. But I'm saying it was 2 powerhouse teams.
I mean, aside from Denki, I mean, this is basically the same team that Lucho had. Once again, aside from Denki, and I mean, Lucho made that team look very competible, whatever. If that's
competitive.
Yeah.
Like he made them competitive, and I think now you got a guy like Denki, who a lot of people are very intrigued on. So I think some of them even have him winning the Golden Boot this year. It's a lot for Evander Kane to just he's filling in real big shoes. You're talking about an MVP caliber player in Lucho Acosta, and I mean, he's got a big role ahead of him, and it's gonna be, the comparisons are gonna be there, no matter what for that case. So, I hope to see Evander do his thing eventually because I think he is a quality player. It's just he's not Lucho Acosta.
I agree with that.
Man, we'll see. We'll see. This to me is kind of a hot take. I think again losing to Philly and both losses convincing, right? They lost to Philly 4-1. Who was the other one? Charlotte 2-0. Like they don't belong in this tier, but I kind of feel like they're here. But again, it's early, right? It's early. We can always in future iterations of these monthly power rankings, they probably will move up. I expect that, but if they don't, Sasha Kleston, you might have some blood on your hands, G. You might have some blood on your hands. Lucho Acosta might take that shit personally, to be honest. We'll see. This is kind of a crazy shout, guys. The comments down below, especially Cincy fans, let us know, man. Where do you see this team? Are they kind of just mid right now, or are they truly a good team that just had some pretty tough competition to go up against? We'll see. Dallas, bro, this is tough.
Chuck them behind Montreal. Come on, this is serious.
Stop. All right, bro. Hear me out. I'm gonna make a case for my team right now. Hear me out.
Okay, cook.
Hear me out. We just for 2 straight minutes glazed Lucho Acosta. We know what he can do. Petar Musa was a top 10 scorer in the league last year. We know what he can do. These guys are gonna get chemistry at some point. At some point, it will happen, right? And when it does, I have a feeling we're not gonna be like top 4 in the West, but I think we will be on that bubble of a playoff team. Wild card team probably in the West, 8th, 9th, somewhere around there. And this is very much still a long-term project. Anybody see how many exits or departures FC Dallas had in the offseason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was in the double digits, bro. It was insane how many players we let go of. So for me, it's almost like still a little early to judge. I mean, we're like in 11th right now, same exact spot we were in last season. I think we're a better team than we were last season for a number of reasons. It's just not there yet. The one win we have is against our rivals in Houston, and that is what it is. The Chicago game obviously was, bro, that was such a massive letdown. But at the same time, I just think it's growing pains for a team that's still trying to figure it out. And I think when you have 2 ballers like Musa and Acosta, it's just hard to throw them into, they're shit. We suck again. It is what it is. I'd be willing to even put them at the top of staring at the panic button, but I also think it's too early to panic. I think we're not even close to seeing the best of FC Dallas just yet. But again, also a very young team, kind of being carried by two ballers right now.
I agree with that, man. And I think what you said about Lucho and Musa, like taking that time to like develop a partnership, all that I think also applies to Cincy with Denke and Evander. So like it's the same scenario. I think you got 2 guys that are key to the team. And until they fully gel, we're not going to know what these teams are going to look like because they're such key pieces that the team isn't fully formed yet until those guys have figured it out.
Yeah,
I think the only difference between Cincinnati and Dallas, though, with your take there, is that there's expectation behind Cincinnati. Dallas doesn't really have much
zero expectation with Dallas, bro.
So there's
zero expectation, bro. I don't have any expectations going into any game, like any match week. If we get a dub, I'm happy, and if we don't find a way to concede stupid goals, the only match I've actually been very upset with up to this point has been the Chicago Fire game because we kind of bottled it. The Vancouver game, I just feel like we played against a much better team, and that's how it worked out.
I'm not saying that with like any disrespect or anything. I just think that Cincinnati over the past couple seasons have had more expectations placed on them based on the fact of where they finished, where they've been. Dallas has kind of been on the downside. They're trying to go upwards, so whatever they're trying to build on right now, they get a little bit more grace with that than Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's always been, fighting within the top 1-2 spots in the last couple of years. So it's a little different, but it's I get what you're saying with it kind of being similar. So
yeah, I think they can figure it out if the new coach Eric Quill can figure out how to get the best out of Lucho. I also think Lucho's doing he's being asked to do everything. I don't think at 30 was he 30 31. I don't think you can ask that of a veteran player to do everything. And I feel like he's being asked to do that right now. I feel like at some point he's just got to get some help. So we'll see. We just signed that Brazilian midfielder from Grêmio. We'll see if that ends up being a pretty pivotal piece, but he needs a little more help there. So yeah, I think putting them even behind Austin, which I'll talk shit about nine ways to Sunday. It is realistic. I think right now they're further ahead than we are at the moment. Speaking of Texas teams, Hector,
all
right, fair enough.
It is bad. It is 3 losses at home. It's it's not. There's no excuse, man. It's piss poor. You really have no answer for Mikhail. Unfortunately, I think I think Femi's good, but he's still young. You know, he's a little too raw. He's still.
What about Bartlow, bro? Bartlow.
He's gotten better. He's gotten better.
From week one. Yeah, fair
yeah.
enough.
Chenko. I mean, I guess Chenko's injured, so that's kind of hurting him right now. But you know, you lose both Koko Karaskia and Ache, and I mean, you only really replaced them with McGlynn. You know, you didn't bring in another midfielder. I mean, we'll see what happens with this 10 that I really, if that's the DP, yeah. Oh, man.
If you guys didn't see, yeah, Houston just made it official, but they just signed their DP 10. How old is he? Is he 29, 28?
I don't know, but I'm glad to see that they're using my 35K salary that they let go of me with. I'm glad that's going to good use.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And again, it's also assuming that Jack McGlynn sticks around for the whole year. There's always those rumors of him moving on to Europe. We'll find out, man. But Houston, it's just weird, I guess you could say. I didn't think the loss of Mikael would be that drastic.
The only good defensive performance I saw was against Columbus. So at least I know that there's hope that that team is in there somewhere. I think right now they're tied 1-1 with El Salvador. So
fair enough. No, nothing more needed there, bro. I agree 100%. Unfortunately for you guys. All right, Miami. Yeah,
but place them 6.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, for that dude in the comments, hop off the nutsack, bro. Like in all honesty, first off, he didn't watch the video because we put them in second in our preseason power rankings. He looked at the thumbnail and commented on the video. It was insane, bro. The thumbnail is clickbait, my G. Like it's not. It's meant so you can watch it, not so you can judge us off of what's in the thumbnail itself. All right.
Wait, what did he say,
bro? He's like, you guys are basically like we have no ball knowledge. I know what the hell we were talking about. You had Miami in 6. I was like, no, we didn't. We actually had them in second. You to watch the actual video. So I hope that guy tunes in, and I hope you can see that there's no irrational hate towards Miami, bro. They're at the top of this list. All right, there. You happy? You happy?
No way. I have irrational hate towards Miami.
I actually do hate Miami.
I will throw up another. I will second that. No,
I don't hate Miami. I hate the glazing. I just can't stand the glazing.
Yeah,
the glazing is too much, bro.
I hate it all.
You have a reason to hate Miami. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, bro. When you can turn a full-blown Messi stan into a hater of Miami, you know the glazing's too much. And I will stand Messi until I die, bro. He is like single-handedly the greatest foot to ever touch a soccer ball or a football. Crazy. But like at the end of the day, bro, no one should be treated like they're Jesus himself, and it's just too much.
They weren't Dynamo fans; they were Messi fans. Like the people that went to the Houston game. You know what? I'm glad. I am glad that they are so depressed that now they've missed twice the opportunity to see Messi in Houston because obviously he also didn't play against Dignas. But
we're in the same boat.
But I'm for it. I'm happy that happened. But man, to see like grown ass people saying I started crying that Messi wasn't gonna be. I was like, what?
But what? Look, they're acting like Suarez isn't out there, Boosie isn't out there, Alba isn't out there, bro. There are Barcelona legends, players we will never see again, out there. Like, go appreciate that shit, bro. It's not just about Messi. I don't know.
Look,
I saw Busquets play. That's whatever.
Like,
the best defensive mid of all time.
Child. Like I get it if a 5-year-old child is crying because they didn't get to see Messi. I get that, but you're in your 30s. You're a parent. Like, you're responsible. You're supposed to be responsible.
Hey, they're crying because their pockets is hurting because of that Messi ticket.
Yeah, that's actually a fair shout. They paid to see Messi and they didn't. But like, bro, you're still watching Barcelona legends play on an American soccer field. Like, just go enjoy that shit. Shut up and stop complaining, bro. Like, yeah, I just don't get it.
Sunday night soccer of all things.
Let's do a petition. Let's get the MLS to sign it. Let's cap the price on these tickets. Because, like, we're paying too much. We're paying way too much.
You're never going to convince Don Garber to say no to more money. You're never going to convince him.
Yeah, I know, right? But in theory, we're getting scammed out here.
$200 for a jersey? Like,
that is true.
Guys, people are buying the kits, bro. They're buying them. Like as long as purchases are being made.
I bought the kit. I just didn't put a player on it.
The first, just to put this into perspective, the first year that I started watching the league, right, I bought my first Fire kit. That shit was $130, and I was like, all right. All the rest of the leagues around here, it's still kind of expensive, but you look at NBA jerseys, everything, they're on the same price. I'm like, not too bad, right? The next year, 180. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Like, where's the discrepancy here? What the fuck?
Bro, it's wild. And now, flat out $200. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I buy FC Dallas merch. It's hard to buy a kit every year because it is a little bit expensive. But yeah, bro, at the end of the day, like I said, for all the Messi and Miami Glazers, look, we put them up here at the top. No more complaining. All right. At the end of the day, that is realistic. They are the best team in MLS right now. But I
just want for the record, I place them at 6th place.
So all I'm saying is stop the crying. You guys are grown. Let's be real. Bring some ball knowledge to the table. Don't just say that we're dumb or stupid for picking them in wherever we pick them, right? At the end of the day, give me some reason or logic. Otherwise, you're just a hater. Let's be real. All right, man. NYCFC.
I feel like it's a hear me out.
Yeah.
If Davi was here, he'd be giving all this about, Martinez and all these boys and how well they started.
The next greatest manager.
We lost Santi.
Yeah. We'd be hearing all about Justin.
We lost Santi Rodriguez. We're still performing. This is good.
You know what though, bro? You know what's crazy? So Davi couldn't be here tonight. Shout out, word to Davi. He sent me a little stat before the video. And what he wanted to point out was that Janssen, the new manager, has more points in his first month than Cushing did in all of March 2024. And I don't know how impressive of a stat that is. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if Janssen shits the bed in summer, none of it matters. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yes, I get it. It's something to hang your hat on, I guess. But like, I don't know.
Bro, this is a wilder stance to have than Bob last week saying best defense all season within 3 games.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He was talking about the Red Bulls, and he was saying this has been the best defense all season. I'm like,
no, y'all been wilding out since I've been gone. I gotta.
Bro, you can't say best team.
Y'all been wilding out since I've been gone.
3 to 4 games deep in this.
I love that Davi gets the Nick Cushing in without. He's not even here. He's
bro,
got to still
any chance to slander Cushing. Bro, he hates that.
You know what? Put him behind FC Dallas.
Fuck it. I'm in.
Yeah, do it.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
It's in the category.
Yeah. And honestly, we're in the same exact placing as far as like conferences go. So I'm in. Yeah.
They have to be behind Chicago. I mean, we scored more goals than them this year. So like,
bro, he's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be mad that he missed this episode. But I do think it's a fair shout. I don't think we've seen enough from NYCFC to be like they're a good team. Like they're like a to be determined. Like I don't know. Like they could be decent this season, but it's
oh wait, I just remembered something. No. Yeah, they're good. Never mind. They're good.
I mean, what I will say, they played LAFC, which LAFC is kind of a little bit looking like they're on fraud watch a little bit. They did play Miami, and in a very controversial ending to that game to open up the season. Did they lose to Orlando, John?
No, 2-2.
2-2. That's what it was, a draw. Okay, so
yeah, man. I think it's perfectly made. I'm thinking the other New York.
Miami,
it was 2-1.
But it was within regular time, right? It wasn't like they added like a ridiculous amount of time to it or anything like that.
I mean, it was on a baseball field, but you know.
Yeah, I guess 11
wasn't there like 9 minutes after that game? Something like that?
It was 11 minutes, bro.
Wow, that's so crazy.
It was some straight up Real Madrid Champions League shenanigans, 100%. Look, I think
the moment for Messi.
I'd be okay, like realistically, putting them like right here.
Yeah,
I think they're better than the 2 Texas teams, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They beat Orlando. How do you guys feel? Is that cool?
That's fine.
Hear me
That's
out?
cool.
All right.
That's cool.
All right.
They need to
Fair
score
enough.
more, though. My opinion. They need
there you go. Bro, you're gonna
score more.
He's gonna hold that shit over Davi for a while. All right, LAFC. Where are they at, man? This one's tough. This one's very tough.
Can I be controversial for a second here?
Oh God, can you? I think it's will you, but yeah, go ahead.
Maybe they should start panicking.
Staring at the panic button, are they?
The only reason, and this is not to like say that these teams are better or whatever. I'm just saying expectation wise. I just want that to be.
That's actually
a fair
shout. They had weren't they everybody's pick to like win the West, even above the Galaxy?
Yeah. I mean, and you say that just based off the players that they have, right? We look at their roster, fantastic players. They have Giroud. That name them, they have them, right? They have the players in the team to definitely do damage in this league, but it seems like they're very like gun shy.
Yeah,
and it's really weird because LAFC has not been gun shy in the last couple of years, and it just seems like they're not fully there. Something is going on. Something's not clicking. Lloris had a howler. I think it was in the last game where he just spilled the ball. Like, so there's been mistakes happening with this LAFC team. I don't know. They're not good enough to be good so far this season. I think that they might need to start panicking if things don't change. That's the way that I see it.
No, it's actually a fair shout, bro. Again, coming fresh off of back-to-back losses, and the last one at home to a team that has only scored 2 goals this season. So one of those goals came against LAFC. They shut them out in front of their own crowd. It's kind of wild when you think about it. So I don't know, man. I think this is like it's not a bad, like, people are gonna look at this just at the list and be like, how the fuck do we have all these teams ahead of LAFC? But I think that, like, John made some really good
does
points.
matter.
What's that?
Like, I mean, context does matter. I mean,
Yeah.
we look like, you know, the fact that Austin FC and FC Dallas are up there is because expectations wise, it wasn't as high as LAFC's. I mean, everyone thought the team that's going to play Inter Miami at the MLS Cup final, kind of thing. And so, you know, you have Olivier Giroud. You know, you have all this, and that you think that it should be working, and now is them. Wait till the summer transfer window where we get Antoine Griezmann. You know, like, how many more players do they need to add firepower? I mean, you know, Jeremy Abob. We have people saying Jeremy Abobasi should be the starting 9 now
because he should. He like Giroud, bro. I don't know what happened. He just, and it's not even like a service thing. I mean, I think the pieces just don't work. Like, he just doesn't fit in with that front line. Like,
he's
not
the 9 for LAFC. He does.
No.
Yeah, I just think Giroud needs to play in a specific system, a specific way to get the most effectiveness out of him. You saw that with France. There's a lot of teams that he's been on. Obviously, he's been on Chelsea, Arsenal, AC Milan. He's been able to perform with those teams because systematically he's been able to fit into those teams.
Yeah,
you're putting him into this LAFC team that systematically just doesn't suit him as a player. So now you're trying to make him work, trying to make all these pieces fit around him, and it's just not clicking. And I get last year he was only there for a couple months. He had about half a season to get adjusted. He's still trying to figure it out. I think eventually he might figure it out. I just think right now, with the way that their attack is looking, the way that they're moving forward, it's not looking good. It's not going to be a team that I feel like is contending for a Supporters Shield. I just don't. I think with the expectations and everything that's been tailored to them, they're going to start looking at hitting the panic button soon.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And that leads me to the other LA team.
Same thing with them.
You're staring at the panic button, but I think you're a little bit more optimistic with LA Galaxy.
Well, so based on what? Because I think that there's a little of optimism on both sides for a couple different reasons. But give me your optimism for LA Galaxy.
Once again, and I remember I said this when we did our preseason rankings, that they're gonna start really bad because of the fact that they are without Ricky Puig, which we know the guy's a maestro when he's on the field. You know, and I think that's also there's a correlation as to why Gabby Peck isn't the front runner MVP. You know, like, and at the same time, you also you don't have Paintsel because I believe he's still out for an injury, probably for another month. So, like, you're missing important players, and once again, you lost Jovic because of the trade for cash for trade rule that they have now in the MLS. And you know that happened. Where now you had to go ahead and bring in Christian Ramirez and Miguel Berry are essentially the guys that you got to try to hope that could be your 9 up top. And this isn't me dissing Christian Ramirez, but I just don't know if he is your everyday starting 9. I think coming off the bench and being a spark is kind of the role that he is, which is what he was over at Columbus.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of losses, a lot of changes that happen with this LA Galaxy team. But I think once this team is healthy, once you have your Ricky Puig back, once you have Paintsel back, Peck is going to be a little bit more free. And, I mean, maybe a guy like Christian Ramirez could end up benefiting once that three-headed monster that is the LA Galaxy's attack is back in shape.
Yeah, Puig doesn't come back until like August, September. So I'm not gonna factor that one in too heavily. I do think Paintsel will add a lot. But they need someone in that midfield to step up, bro. Like a creative midfielder to like do what, at least to some extent, what Ricky was doing. Obviously, no one can replicate Ricky Puig, but yeah, man. Marco Royce, by the way, you're a fucking fraud, bro. I was going to say,
I think the expectation for Royce was to be a little bit more of a creative player, a little bit more providing that some of that playmaking that obviously is being lacked now that Pooch is gone. But he needs to step it up, and if he doesn't, like, what are we really looking at here? They've only scored 2 goals in their first 4 games. That is atrocious when you come with the expectations of coming up after an MLS Cup win. You have expectations to kind of perform, and I know they've had a lot of players out. At the same time, having a player like Marco Royce, you should be able to do something.
Yeah,
at least score
I
more
agree.
than 2 goals.
And people will say players out, but think about that roster. Think about how, like, even with all these players out and how many players they may have moved on in the offseason, whatever it may be, you're on paper, your team is still better than 80 to 85% of the teams in this league. Like, it still is. I don't care what anybody says. Like, they may not be performing like it right now, but on paper they are. They're talented. They're just not stepping up. And that's why all of that context that we talked about factors into staring at the panic button. If they, I don't know, are they away at Minnesota this weekend or are they at home?
Let me double check for you real quick. So they're
away.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with the staring at the panic button position. I'm just saying I would probably put them over LAFC.
Ooh. Interesting. I'm not mad at
Because
that.
Galaxy has an excuse as to why they're underperforming.
I agree with that.
An excuse that you don't want to, that you don't really care to acknowledge too much, which is fair. But LAFC, their team is healthy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they poached Marky Mark.
They did. They poached Delgado, and like that should have been like, to I guess replace Ilya, right? And that should have been maybe a level up in terms of youth, in terms of like what he can offer in the midfield potentially, right? Just a little more dynamic than Ilya Sanchez, who's trying to do work down in Austin right now. So yeah, I'm not mad at this, bro. Not mad at this. Let's move on to Minnesota. Minnesota, how we feel about this one? Might be good. They're top 5 right now.
We might be good. I'm just scared because every time we do this, they
Minnesota's weird. They're a weird team. They
are.
have very weird ups and downs, and I've seen this like we did this shit last year where they were up, they were down, and they have months where they go on a good run.
Last year, I think at one point.
Yeah, they had months where they were really, really solid, and I remember a friend of mine had St. Clair on her stream, and we had discussed about, like, I think I asked him a question of like, how do you keep that consistency going? Obviously, from being, because they were at the time they were flying, and then all of a sudden a few weeks later they just came crashing down. So Minnesota is kind of one of those weird teams where they could be good. Some weeks they could be bad. It's a very weird mix of a roster that
literally
I can't
they got
really.
Meme, bro. Literally,
Literally, it's literally that. It's literally that because they're very inconsistent.
Sometimes maybe
they're very inconsistent, so it's hard to really say.
Fair.
I mean, I guess for their standards, for what they are, they might be good, but I could also see them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's
the
hard
only,
to really
L
say.
they have is the opening game, which again, opening game is like, you take that with such a grain of salt. It was a 1-0 loss at LAFC with that Jeremy Abobasi banger, right? Like the 70th minute, whatever it was. I remember watching that game thinking like, Minnesota's not a bad team. They were creating chances. They were opening them up. And I would say that a similar volume of chances that LAFC did. It's just LAFC was more clinical. And you expect that considering the players they have at their disposal. Yeah, bro, I think they might be good. I think they might be good. You might be able to even say the same thing for Nashville, no? Top 5 in the East. Pulled off that epic win against Philly.
Not up. I'll say that.
Nashville might be good, guys. They might be good. Look at John.
They're on the up. They're on the up. They're on the up.
Come on, man.
I mean, I'm sorry. No.
Give them some credit, bro.
The East
Come on, man.
is
Give
absolutely
BJ some love. Give BJ some love.
Nashville, not like like
they're on the up. They're looking better. They're looking better.
They've had an okay couple games, but it's gonna even out, man. Like so many of these teams, like it's.
Isn't this why we're doing the power ranking this month, though?
Like,
yeah.
Hani Mukhtar.
So far, though,
so
far,
for a
John,
game or two, but is Hani Mukhtar gonna look
gave
good all year?
Philadelphia the only L so far this season. So
I figure y'all are. That's like one, and also you gotta look at Philly want to press you, and Nashville like, yeah, come on, press us.
But
Like,
that's the thing.
In that one for me more than anything. So I just think Nashville, yes, have started okay, but I think it's all going to even out for real. I don't think they're that good.
But right now, let's put a pin in the future. Right now, are they a pretty decent team?
I still look at their team, their lineup, man. I just don't think that lineup's that good. Like it isn't, in my opinion, compared to the rest of the East. You look at some of these other lineups, I don't rate them that highly. But yes, they've started
when do you
well.
guys
I
play
will
Nashville?
admit
When do
that.
you guys play Nashville?
I've started that. I don't know.
I want
looked at it. Now
to be
you
there
wanna
for that
know?
game. When does
Yo,
Orlando play
there's
Nashville?
beef there, man. You don't want to play that guy.
I don't know. I think it'd be good. Okay, so we know how.
Hey, I went to bat for Charlotte. I'm not going to bat for Nashville.
That's fair.
There's got to
That's
be
fair.
limits.
All right, guys. John, Hector, we have a problem with this? We're gonna move him down. How do you feel?
No, because I just remembered that my point got proven correct about Jim Curtin, so I'm excited for that.
He's like, they beat Philly. They're a good team in my opinion. So,
Well, no, because Jim Curtin's no longer there, but I'm saying Philly's been flying now that he's gone. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
actually a fair point. That's actually a
They
fair
also
point.
drew
John got
to
that
the
one right.
drew to the Revs and lost to the Rebels. So it's like,
Rebels are MLS Cup finalists though, and
Sure.
according to Bob, best defense all season long so far. So.
Yeah, I think that changed.
you cannot say that. You cannot say that 3 years into the season. I'm sorry, that's very unserious.
I think that definitely changed over a week.
Yeah, it definitely changed a little bit.
Can we just quickly just discard the Revs and just put them and we suck again? I think Nashville's good at the top end or whatever.
Just for John's sake, we'll put them in here. Hear me out, and then New England, yeah, they suck again.
Yeah. Can you just there? Actually, a little higher than Montreal because they got a little bit more class, but
They made some
We're good.
signings. There's a little bit of ambition. They're.
Montreal has one more goal than them. They only have one goal.
Hey,
It's
bro,
not all about
you
the
can
goals,
argue.
though.
You can argue the Revs have new pieces. I think Porter, bro, if he doesn't figure this out as a manager, he might be out by the time Leagues Cup gets here. I don't know what's gonna happen.
which is crazy, by the way.
They added Capana.
Yeah. Who got injured already, by the way. That was kind of crazy. So I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about the Revs that much because frankly, there's not a whole lot to talk about. They're kind of the same old team so far. Red Bulls.
Best defense so far.
Hey, they gotta be ahead of Miami, right? They have the best defense in the league.
I know.
As
I
of
know
last
Bob
week,
is,
best defense so
is
far.
big on them. I don't see the Chupo thing, man. I don't get.
Hey, you
how
got a
that's-
penalty goal,
Oh.
bro. You don't rate that?
Don't talk to me about that.
Electric.
And also
Hey,
the DPs, I don't know. Forsberg is good at times, but
Down.
I was gonna say, can we be realistic and can we put Nashville ahead of them, please?
Remember,
let's be.
finished eighth
Thank
last
you.
year in the regular season. So
That is true.
they did have a great playoff run, but
Yeah.
There's
I
just
do think their defense served them really, really well in playoffs. 100%.
yeah, they got
They're-
great defense. I'll give them that. Sure.
They're an average team to me. That's what it is.
Do you have beef with the Red Bulls too? I'm just kind of.
I do not. I
Okay,
do
all right,
not.
I get that out there, bro.
No. Just to get that out there. Good preference. I do not have beef with the Red
We need
Bulls,
we need a
okay?
Davi. We need a Davi in here.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. We
Yeah.
need a Dobby shouting here. Okay, he would throw Red Bulls fucking down here, bro.
Yeah.
It was easy.
To be fair though, they're just an average team. I don't see them.
There's a whole lot of mid in MLS right now. That's all I'm going to say. There's a whole lot of mid.
But that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's what I was referencing. There's a lot of mid teams here.
Yeah.
Red Bull fall into that category.
All right. Fair enough.
The fact that you have them higher than Chicago is a little crazy criminal to me because we're in a better position.
Actually, you know what, bro? That's actually a fair shout.
We scored more
not
goals
Chicago. Not Chicago. I was going to say
that's high. Higher than Atlanta.
Yeah.
Higher than us is crazy though too.
Some of these hear me out teams might have to
Listen.
up.
Just look at the goals. I know we've conceded 8, but we've also scored 9, and we have the same goal difference. We're only off by 1.
All right, guys,
but we
hold
scored
on.
more goals. That's all.
look at just.
Hear me out.
We said hear me out a lot in the show. But hear me out.
I mean,
think
if you're gonna
that's
put them up there, you gotta put
Atlanta
up there.
up there.
If you're gonna do that, put Atlanta out there,
Yeah.
and then
That's how I would do it. So
and then
far.
put Atlanta a little higher, and then I'm good.
I'm saying if we're gonna do that, we gotta put Nashville up there.
That is true. I will agree with that.
I won't fight you.
Let's go,
Yeah.
boys. Let's go. A
I
little more
don't- I don't
symmetrical.
like it.
Fans of symmetry are now less OCD centric. You know, they're
I feel
now
better.
feeling much better.
Yeah.
All right, John. Orlando, John. How do you feel about Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, I would say hear me out, but I would rather hear you guys out on what your opinions are on Orlando City
Great
before I tell you
transition.
mine.
Oh no, we suck at. No, I'm kidding. Connor's gonna crucify me. No, you can put them ahead of us. I think Orlando's just gonna. It's a slow start to the season. They've always been slow. You know what did Hector say last year? All year long, championship DVD, and it just didn't happen. But I think Orlando has a little bit more positive things to go off of, and I think that they're a much stronger side that they've shown. But I do feel like I said, it is a bit early to call, but I feel like they'll be fine. So
I think also, I mean, they had to start the season out with Philadelphia, and we kind of seeing how they've been going. They beat who they're supposed to be. They beat Toronto. I think NYCFC could have been an either or kind of match. I think, unfortunately, what was it playing? That was at the baseball stadium, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then a 2-2 draw against Red Bull, best defense so far. So yeah, I think it's a fair shout. I mean, to put them in, hear me out.
Yeah. I also think too, like, and it was kind of crazy to even say this. I mean, so I'm gonna put the stat out there. They're tied for the second highest scoring offense in the Eastern Conference, alongside the Chicago Fire, which is a weird fucking thing to say. But the defense has just been letting them down, bro. Like, 10 goals conceded already through 4 matches. I mean, you just gotta figure that part of it out. And again, I don't know, John, if it's GOLZ that we're just like highlighting. I don't think it's that straightforward.
It was the same thing last year. We started like really badly, but last year we just weren't scoring goals. This year we're scoring, like you said, like a lot more goals. So once they figure out and remember how to defend, and Schlegel maybe gets out of the lineup, and Pedro remembers that he's a Peruvian goalkeeper, then I feel like the rest of the team, like Pasalic, Atuesta, a lot of these new players are clicking and firing. Ojeda too. So yeah, I think we're going to be just fine. I'm not worried.
I was going to say, shout out Ojeda. That was a banger that he scored over the weekend.
He's low-key a real baller in this league.
I like Ojeda a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Philly, and it pains me to do this, guys.
Contenders.
I will say Contenders. I think Charlotte have had a tougher schedule, and it's the only reason Philly are above them at the table. Philly, honestly, bro, the Nashville game, if it wasn't for that Nashville game and that result, I mean, to me, they'd be right up there with Inter Miami. Like it'd be very, very close. I think Nashville exposed them a little bit at home, but I still think they're going to be a very, very difficult team for anybody they go up against. I mean, Carnell, I don't know if St. Louis City fans rue the day they fired Carnell. I think, Hector, you and I talked about this a lot on your show, right? In terms of like what he stood for and how it almost worked against him that St. Louis had that crazy good year in 2023 and then could not live up to the hype in 2024. It like backfired, and that's the only reason he's out of there. Because with limited resources, we know that Philadelphia's FO does not reinforce their squad in any way, shape, or form. Curtin had to deal with that for the last few seasons. It just aged and aged and aged. But now, I mean, he's working wonders over there, bro.
I was gonna say, you just lifted a curse. You got rid of the guy that is in your locker room for years.
You got rid of
the same shit.
You got rid of the 90%.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, with that said, Curtin is a Shield winner. He's an MLS Cup finalist. I mean, he's got
which is all fine and dandy. It's all fine and dandy, but results matter. And today,
did he win the MLS Cup?
He did not. He had to go up against Gareth Bale and LAFC, and that shit sucked. But
I feel like Philly wanted to play a certain way. They went out and got the manager who only plays that way, and he has the squad to play that way, and it seems to be working. My thing is like how long and like how many. They started out with 3 great results, and then you saw the other side against Nashville. How often are they going to be able to be that consistent Philly? Like I was really impressed when they came out and played Orlando, but a lot of it is that high press and being that predator team. How long can you maintain that throughout the season is the question.
The dog days of summer will be telling for all of these teams who play as high octane as Philly does. So I agree. I think I don't see them ever dropping beneath like being good, but being like top 2, top 3 in the East. Let's see how long that lasts. I think right now, pretty impressive so far, but I think that Nashville result might be telling. We may see some random one-off dropped games along the way moving forward. So we'll find out. Portland.
Staring at the panic button.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to put them ahead of DC. And the biggest reason why I don't have teams like Austin or Dallas beneath them, or even NYCFC beneath them, is because there's like potential here, right? Like they got some pieces to figure out. And for these two teams, there's a lot of new pieces. For NYCFC, brand new manager. They're going to backfill Santi at some point. Like you can see like potential here, Chicago included, like all these guys. Portland has Da Costa, and like I still don't know what they really have, and I don't rate Neville as a manager. I really don't.
Shouldn't they be? Oh no, we suck again potentially.
Potentially, like I mean, they did. I mean, it was at home. I guess like again, it's against this version of LA Galaxy. But.
Can we put him behind DC just because I feel like DC has a little bit of hope?
I feel like
I don't know if Portland has anything.
The Neville part of it makes them less hopeful for them. Right?
They might slide in right with Houston. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, and it sucks because they have such a great fan base, from Portland's perspective. But like, bro, like this team is just not inspiring. Like even in that 1-1 draw, if there was ever a time to play against Galaxy and get a result at home, this is the version of the Galaxy you want, 1000%, and they couldn't do it. Fuck, even last season, Dallas, when they had a Galaxy at home, a full strength LA Galaxy still found a way to win 2-0. Like you couldn't get a result against this very weakened version. I don't know how many points they're actually going to get this season. Yeah, I think we can put them down here. I'm totally fine with that. Salt Lake.
Diego Luna is their only bright spot on that team.
So panic button.
Yeah, without Diego Luna, that team would be far down there below.
How long does Luna stay with Salt Lake?
Not very long.
Because he's already getting real call-ups now. I mean, Camp Cupcake was one thing for the U.S. men's national team. He's legit. Posh loves him. He's legitimately getting real call-ups now.
Big balls, bro. Big balls.
Well, that's because Luna plays in a style where I feel like he's just he has a lot of confidence in himself and the way that he attacks and the way that he progresses the ball forward. And there's not a lot of players in this league that have that level of confidence, especially being so young. I think without Luna, this team would definitely be out there. So I think they need to hit the panic button to find him some help. If not, he's definitely out of there.
Feel bad, bro. My boy Sam Junka from FC Dallas. We did that trade for Anderson Julio. It was a good trade. I love that trade. But we sent him to Salt Lake, and it's a little unfortunate. They're Master Winnie's guys work cut out for him. They could turn it around, but they're just not. They're just a shell of themselves. They're not anywhere close to where they were last season. San Diego, the expansion side.
They might be good.
They might, bro.
I look solid.
I rate Dreyer. I think he's actually a hell of a forward, hell of a winger. I mean, right now, bro, like you can't even argue with the results. You can't. Top four. And granted, when they came out swinging against LA Galaxy in the opening week of the season, that was one thing. But since then, I mean, they've only drawn to St. Louis City and the Columbus Crew. They have not lost a game yet this season. And both of those teams I just mentioned are proving to be good teams, right, in the league this season. So, yeah, I think that unless anybody else has a counterpoint, I'm probably going to leave them right here.
No, I think we're good.
The Quakes. Are they actually good? Does Bruce Arena have this team back in contention, or are they like still more to prove here?
They might have a little bit more to prove, but I don't complain either or. That makes sense.
It's like they started off like fire out of the gates, bro, and then have dropped back-to-back games. So
I guess I mean, if they wherever you feel, I feel like with them it's going to be one of those.
They're the top team on Hear Me Out.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't disagree. I don't mind that either. I think they have things to be happy about, and also in comparison to what their expectations were from years past, I think they'll be happy with what they've shown this year. They've shown a lot more fight than they have been in the past couple of years. This is a roster that is obviously it's coming together, but it's definitely started off well. There's positive things to look forward to. I think it's fine to be put there. I don't see any reason why. Either or, whether it's good or Hear Me Out, I think I'm cool.
I'm going to put Colorado ahead of them only because, one, they just lost to Colorado at home, but they just also dropped back-to-back games at home.
Okay.
That's another thing where it's like, dude, one more dropped game at home and you're right there with Houston. Right. So it's like, I don't know. Again, still, and they're reliant upon aging strikers, really, at the end of the day. Espinosa is still there, of course, right? But like again, you're relying upon Joseph Martinez and Chicho Arango to keep balling at this rate. I don't know how sustainable that really is. Seattle, this one's tough because they are a good team, but sometimes don't play like it. That's the only issue.
It's like they have these like overwhelming performances, but then out of nowhere they have this Jordan Morris record-breaking performance kind of thing.
So I can't sit here and have Seattle behind Nashville. I'm sorry. No.
Come on, bro. Come on. One win in the first 4 matches.
I can't. No,
No.
I can't see Seattle above either Orlando or Chicago.
I feel like Seattle, they might not have started well, but they are been playing Champions League. Some of these other teams, I do give them a bit of grace on that personally. So, they're going to come back strong. They're going to be fighting the squad that Seattle has. They're going to win a consistent amount of games, be very good at home. I think there's always going to be a top team in the West right now.
You know what's funny? I feel like if Cheyenne was here, he would be talking about some reason why they're not going to be good. He's always got some sort of reason as to why
Cheyenne
not doing.
Staring at the panic button.
Yeah, he probably would. The only reason I'm gonna put them and hear me out, right? And again, I know there's a lot of interesting. If you look at this from top to bottom, it looks very interesting. But I think it's just based on current form, I'm not that scared of Seattle right now. I agree with you, John. I think that over time, this team only gets better. And it's the same case every season, to be honest. They always start slow. They find their way back into it right about summer, and they go on this crazy streak where Jordan Morris can't stop scoring. I'm sure De La Vega will start contributing a whole lot more. And now I'm sure at some point throughout the season, Jesus Ferreira will start really contributing. It sucks that they lost Areola for the season with that ACL tear. That is what it is. But Georgie's also a great attacker on that side as well. And their defense tends to hold strong more often than not. But right now, man, I mean, I want to play Seattle right now. Is that a weird thing to say?
I think it'd be the time too. I think later on in the year it gets a lot more difficult.
Tough.
Yeah.
I mean, Lumen Field doesn't feel like as much as a fortress anymore.
Yeah, Charlotte did get that result in the opening weekend. That was interesting with that brand new attack. I think right here
they did smack LAFC 5-2.
Oh, but that was a rotation game. The only reason I don't rate that result is that both teams rotated heavily because of Triple C, and
that's what I mean. Their depth is deep.
Yeah, they just rotated better. That's really what it is. Their depth is better than LAFC's depth, and that's why LAFC's down here, right? But I still think this is probably fair. I would put them above all these teams, and even though Chicago's strength of schedule is not what Seattle's has been, but they still, I mean, you can only play who's in front of you, right? Yeah. So they've still found a way to get the result, have a top 2 scorer in the league. I feel like right now it's just this is kind of Seattle's perfectly mid right now. And it's reflected in their goal differential. 7 goals for, 7 goals against. They're perfectly mid. Sporting Kansas City.
Suck again.
They did come back, tied that game.
That's the only reason I was going to put them in the start hitting the panic button, because they came back they were losing 3-0.
Yeah,
they came back.
The bar is low.
It's just a low expectation. It's hard to say anything for Sporting, because I don't really think that they really had any expectations going into the year. I mean, they lost. I mean, they brought Joe Lich in, but they don't really have. Never really. I mean, apart from one good playoff performance that I think they had, was either last year or the year before. That's all they've really done. So I don't disagree.
Heck, do you really feel like Houston have less hope than Sporting? I feel like that's depressing, man. No, Houston can be up there a little bit higher than Sporting KC.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're
I got no hope.
The exact same record, bro. I think the reason I sometimes, well, and again, we'll see throughout the rest of the year. I don't rate Vermees. I don't rate the culture at Sporting Kansas City. I think they're serial losers. But at the same time, Jovic and the way they came back into that game at the weekend,
they showed fight.
They showed fight, and I think more than anything, they have an actual prolific goal scorer up top. Whereas, Houston, it's we're waiting for that DP to show up, right? Hector, wouldn't you also agree? In terms of, is it Ponce who's up top for you guys?
Yeah, it's Ponce. But yeah, but this is the thing. I've always been saying it though. For the Dynamo, I've said it for the past 2 years now. Whereas defense is good, we just don't know where the goals come from. And I mean, you had Kentucky Fried Asshole, Sebastian Pereira, who apparently now he can score goals.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, and it's kind of is it the player, or is it Brawl? I mean, Benny Ball. Is his tactics just not allowed to build creativity? And it's kind of now learning more and more that maybe it's because Coco Carrasquilla and Ache were F this, I'm going to go ahead and play the game how I want this to be played, because that's really when the game looked better, at least for the attacking side of the Dynamo, was when Ache or Coco took charge and moved the ball with their urgency. And it wasn't so much, and kind of it was always Jekyll and Hyde when you saw it when Ache and Coco didn't take charge of that game.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think this is probably fair. I expect both teams to get a little bit better throughout the season, just considering some of the pieces that they have. But man, if Joveljic keeps going and Houston can't find a way to bag goals, this could switch pretty quickly. And Sporting, who knows, man? Maybe they find a way to move up. I think when you have someone that good, and I do rate Joveljic heavily, you're always kind of in the game. I think they showed that this past weekend. So we'll see. We'll find out. But either way, as of today, this is probably accurate. St. Louis City. Bro,
best defense all season.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. This is probably the best defense all season. Yet to be scored on. So there is that.
I was going to say they've had a resurgence this year. They looked a lot better, a lot stronger now. I mean, they didn't even have Berkey on the weekend, and they still managed to.
Guys, this is one of the two teams, and we'll talk about the next one here pretty soon. But one of the two teams in the West that I do think are legitimate contenders. I think when you watch St. Louis play, like the first opening 0-0 draws, like the goals weren't there, but they held firm. Their midfield's actually pretty solid, and I think under this new manager, they actually move the ball fairly well. Their home field is going to be a fortress week in and week out. We know that, and I think right now, like I said, 0 goals against through 4 weeks, the first month of the season, and I think that massive coming out party against LA Galaxy, that may have started a snowball that teams in the West won't be able to stop. We'll see. But St. Louis look good, bro. I don't think anybody can really dispute this. I think right now they are clearly one of the best teams in the West right now.
Yeah, agreed. Not really
Musa will be proud.
Musa would be proud. Toronto. All right.
Yeah, bro. You can stick them fucking back there. Along with Montreal, right? One of the two.
Yeah.
I don't care where you put them.
Who belongs higher?
Montreal. Fuck it. They have more hope.
Toronto has given up 10 goals.
Okay, yeah. Say less.
Toronto are the worst.
Say less. All right, and then finally, guys.
I think you put them. I think you put them right next to right there.
Undefeated.
Vancouver is fucking legit, bro. And this is what I was saying. I think we did predictions last week. I was telling you guys, I want to cheer for my team against this Vancouver team every day of the week, but I just know a better team when I see it.
I think we got to put Vancouver. They're undefeated. Number one.
I don't. You know what?
Oh, I like this.
No, I'm with Hector. I'm 100% with that, bro.
9 goals scored, 2 goals allowed this so far, and to Miami's, who is 3 wins, 1 draw.
Miami drew a game.
Yeah.
There's no
9 goals, 4 goals allowed.
So if Vancouver plays Miami tomorrow, Vancouver's winning that game?
I know this is MLS.
No.
I know this is MLS, but Vancouver, when you beat Monterrey, you gotta put some respect.
That's actually true, bro.
You gotta put some respect on that. You do, for real. 100%. And Miami have all the other things that Miami have going for them. Vancouver are literally maybe under sale, and this is how you're playing. Like, incredible.
I'm still discussing.
You lost your coach. Your coach left because of what was going on with Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like, no one thought Vancouver would do this in the beginning. No one said, "Oh yeah, Vancouver's going to be number one."
I thought playoff team, but that's as far as I was willing to go with it, and mainly because we know how good guys like, of course, Ryan Gauld's insane, but Brian White to me has been unreal. Very quietly, I feel like he never really gets his flowers, unless maybe this season you could say he's getting a little more of that. But bro, very quietly bagging at least 15 goals a season for the last 2 seasons. Like, I feel like he's as clinical as any other forward in the league for the most part. So. Yeah, bro, I rate Vancouver heavily, and having just experienced, our latest L against them, it was only 1-0, but frankly, it could have been more than that. Like, they had so many chances. Like, yeah, Vancouver belongs up here 100%, bro.
I think this is perfect.
Solid list, bro. Solid list. All right, guys. Any last minute changes? I know John said he's good. Hector, other John, how are we feeling?
I
think this looks good, bro. I'm not gonna change any of this.
I'm good with this list. I would say put Miami in 6.
Yeah, bro. Just for the memes. But look, man. I mean, top 2. This is crazy. Could you imagine?
Not Miami. The Messi fans are going to be ballistic.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's no way any team is better than us. But bro, again, factor in context, factor in the expectations.
Also,
Vancouver chose a monster truck rally over a playoff.
I'm just gonna state for LAFC fans, LA Galaxy fans, there's context behind that. If you watch through the whole show, you understand why.
Yeah,
it's not that you're bad. There's context to this, so.
I agree. So if you're at home right now, you're got to this part of the video. First off, we appreciate you. But second, take a screenshot, clip this shit. I don't care. Comment down below. Let us know how you feel. I'm sure just with how the tiers were laid out, with how if you if you just fast forward to the end of this video and you look at this, you're like, dude, these guys are smoking some crazy sheesh. But at the end of the day, right, there's a lot of context that was wrapped into every one of these picks. Go check it out. Let us know how we did. And again, man, we appreciate you guys for making it all the way to the end of the video. But that's it. This is our tier list, man. I feel really, really good about this. This, again, is our month one. We're not saying that this is how it's going to remain moving forward. But after the first 4 weeks of MLS play, this is how we here at Wake Up MLS feel the teams have kind of panned out up to this point. All right. So again, guys, as we always do, please, again, if you enjoyed this content, like the video down below. Again, Wake Up MLS on the GOLZ TV channel, bringing you weekly MLS content. So subscribe if you haven't done so already. And again, for everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name is Jose. That's John, Chicago Fire fan. That's John, Orlando City fan. And Hector. We'll catch you guys next time.